everybody. Today I'm going to install the pistons and rods in my 5.3 that I converted to a 5.7. I've already put the crank in the previous video, checked all the end plays and clearances, so we're going to check. I've already actually put one of the pistons in and checked the clearance on the rods. Look like they're in good shape. They're about between 1,000 and 1,500, which is good. Put the rings on the pistons, and this is the order you put them in. The expander ring gap goes down here. This is the forward of the piston, of course. We're facing the front of the piston. So the expander ring goes here. The one that goes under the expander goes right here. The one that goes above the expander goes up there. Then the second ring goes right here. It has a dot on it, shows which side to go up, so I did that. And then the top ring goes right here. And gotta torque the rod bolts to 40 foot-pounds, and this is how you get a 5.7 out of a 5.3. 5.7 is a 3.78 inch bore, and you just take it and you have it bored out to 3.898 and put the LS1 pistons in it. They're both the same stroke. They're both 3.622 inch stroke. Which all of the, well, not all of them, the 4.8 isn't, but the 5.3, 5.7, 6 liter, and the 6.2, they're all the same stroke. So let's get at it. The piston I'm going to install first, I've already taken it. Like I said, it's got the rings on it already. I have soaked it down with Marvel Mystery Oil. That's what I like to put around the rings. I don't like using oil because once you start it up, it could kind of varnish over, get hot, varnish over, and get behind the ring. So I use Marvel Mystery Oil. I've heard of people using WD-40 and having good results also. And I've also already put the assembly lube on the rod bearings. I got the rod bearings in the rod and the cap, and I have got them pre-lubed already. So I've already got it in the ring compressor, so now it's time to install the piston. Alright, now you put the piston in the bore with the front of the piston facing towards the front of the motor. Put it in, get everything square, and tighten down on the ring compressor. Get everything good and tight. Tap it a couple times, make sure everything's good and square. Tighten it again. Make sure you're going to come square with the crankshaft. I like to hold my hand in here, hold the rod with the bearing in it, just to make sure it lines up. Give it some taps, make sure you're still lined up with the crankshaft. Make sure the bearing goes on the crankshaft, and there it is. So I've already coated the rod bearings with assembly lube, and I also put some ARP assembly lube on the bolts. Make sure they torque down correctly. It says to go to 40 foot-pounds. I'm going to do 25 foot-pounds first, and then I'll go to 40 after that. Make sure you have it lined up properly, like so. All in there. I'm going to use a ratchet just to get it close first. Like I said, I've already had this one in. I put the plastic gauge on it, and I had between the thousandths and thousandths of a half. Between 1 and 2 is good. And these motors here, they're always a little tighter than the old small blocks used to be. But they can run thinner oil, and they don't rob as much horsepower with thinner oil. Alright, torque them to 25 first. And I'll go to 40. And there you have it. The piston is installed. I won't bore you with watching me do all 8 of them, but I'll take my time and I'll put all 8 of them in. It's also a good thing to turn it, make sure everything's going to rotate like it should. Rotates fine. It'll get tighter as you go because the rings have resistance in the cylinder, so the more you get on there, the harder it's going to be to turn. We have all the pistons installed into the block, the pistons and the rods. Everything's torqued down. Everything is good to go on that aspect. Now we're going to install the cam and lifters in the block today, and possibly even the heads, just depends on how I feel. So let's get started. Alright, the cam I'm putting in is a Texas Speed, I think they call this one the Bald Eagle cam. You can see all the specs on that or not, but it's a 600 lift cam. Got a 111 lobe separation, and it's a pretty big cam. It's bigger than the one I have in my daily driver, and it requires a little bigger torque converter. It's actually pretty cool. It's got that little thing on the end of it. So we'll put it in, we'll put a couple bolts in the holes in the front of it to help us hold it and get the first couple lobes in. It's got brand new cam bearings in it, so we'll put a little assembly lube on it. So we'll put it on all the lobes, a little bit on all of them, and we'll put it in from here. Go slow with it, make sure everything lines up. Yeah, perfect. There it is. Alright, I'm going to put the cam retainer plate in. I bought a brand new one. The old one, the little O-ring was all flattened out on it, and that's your oil pressure right there basically. It holds your oil. So I wanted to put a new one on, so I bought one. While I was at it, I bought a timing chain tensioner adapter. This motor didn't have a timing chain tensioner on it originally. So I bought this, and it bolts right onto the front of the retaining plate. Using the same holes, except for the top one. Alright, the torque on these 3 here are 132 inch-pounds. So go ahead and tighten them down. The one up top is 18 foot-pounds. So, there's all of the cam retainer plate. Now we have to put the timing chain on. Like the timing chain set I have, that I bought, it has, you can retard or advance the timing of the camshaft by the different keys in it. I'm going straight up with it. Alright, I'm going to stop the video. I got to make a device to push that on with. I don't want to hammer it on. Alright, I'm back. I forgot that I had a bolt that I'd made for installing harmonic balancers. So I found it, got a socket on there, and I'm going to just drive it in, turn it and drive it in and pull the gear on. That easy. Now I got that on. I'm gonna have to probably turn the crankshaft till I get the dot up on the sprocket, the lower sprocket, because it's got to be lined up in the middle along with the big one. So I'll see if I can't do that. All right, there's the dot. It's straight up now. Now what I have to do is I have to line it up, get the camshaft in the right position, and get that dot and that dot lined up. It looks like the camshaft's got to roll a little bit. Get it about where we need it first. Oops, too far. Put a couple bolts in it. Alright, so there's the dot, straight up and down. Now I'll put the chain on. I don't have the back plate on this, so it's kind of tricky. The cam keeps trying to want to scoot back on me. There we go. Alright, I'm going to put the assembly lube on the cam bolts. There are ARP bolts. Got a torque spec of 25 foot-pounds. Put some under the head and some on the threads. Alright, there's the timing chain. Put the tensioner back on. Hopefully it'll slide on now. Alright, there's the timing chain. Tensioner. Alright, not going nowhere. Lined up, dot to dot. We should be good to go. Now I guess we can put the lifters in or the oil pump. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, now I'm going to install the oil pump. I bought a Chevrolet GM replacement oil pump for it. I'm going to line the splines up. Put them on there. I'm going to start a couple of the bolts. Probably all of the bolts to start them. Now what I'll do, I've got 3 1/1000 shims that I'm going to put in there, equally space them out to get the rotor equal distance all the way around on the pump. I'm taking the pump down, and it is 18 foot-pounds. Tighten those down. There, the oil pump is installed. Now we got the cam in, the oil pump. I'm going to put the lifters and the lifter trays in. So I've had my lifters soaking for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days now. So I'll take them, put them one by one in the container. Gotta remember to put the little notches up. Put the bolts in. Trays came with new bolts. Alright, we're going to continue on now. We've already got the lifter trays in, so we can put the heads on now. So that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start out by putting the dowel pins back in the holes in the block. I pulled them out and I sent it to the machine shop. So tap those in. Those will help locate the heads on the block. Now I'm going to put the head gaskets on. I'll put them on. Sorry, put the front on the front. And I'll set the cylinder head in place. The cylinder heads I sent to Texas Speed or PRC. I had them put big valve springs in it, do a valve job on it, mill the heads 20, and CNC port intake and exhaust ports. So these heads are to flow pretty good, a lot better than stock. Now I have washers. I got ARP bolts to put on. So now I'm going to put the washers on. Washers, there's a certain way. There's a smooth side and then a side that's got some little indentions on it. Well, that's for grip on the head, so that goes down, the indentions go down onto the head. On these heads you have 3 different sizes of bolts. You have the small bolts obviously go on the top. The shorter of the big bolts go on this end and that end, and these here go throughout the rest of it. They're bolted on, as you can see, they bolt down in there pretty far to hold the heads on. So now that I know that, I'm going to put the lube on the bolts. ARP recommends it supplies the lube for you. They want you to put it under the bolt head and on the threads itself. The Gen 4s have different length bolts on there, so if you're running Gen 4, you'll have a different set of head bolts for it. And I have through ARP, I have a torque procedure for it, so you tighten bolts 1 through 10 to 25 foot-pounds, and then 50, and then 75. That's all the main ones, and then the little ones on the top, you do them to 25 foot-pounds after you've done the other 3 sequences on the bottom ones. There you have it. I'm going to videotape the whole next one. There's no reason to. It's the same thing, just on the other side. So next time you see it, it'll have both the heads on it. Alright, as you can see, I got the heads on it now. Now we're going to put the back cover on and the barbell. When I took it to the machine shop, I took the old barbell out. It broke on the way out. So all it is an oil restrictor. I bought a new one. It goes in right here. Goes up flush, just like that. And we'll start putting the bolts on the back cover, get it in place. The gasket has O-rings around the bolt holes, so they're a little tough to go in, but they will push in. Just give them a little bit of a shove and they'll go. They don't want to put these all the way up because they make a tool that you put in here to space all this out evenly. But one, you want these to be that to be bottom or even with the bottom of the block as much as possible. And I did some math. The inside diameter of this is 4 inches 527 thousandths. This is 3 inches 860. Gives you a difference of 667. You divide it by 2, you get 333 thousandths, which is what this is. So this, if it goes in there too easy, don't go in here. So the pan needs to come down just a hair. And the same on the side. That's too easy. It's got to go that way some. Too far. Even. I'm good to go right there. Torque them. Alright, we tried this the other day on my son's motor. Worked pretty good. It's a piece of 4-inch PVC. Get your new seal. It's got a little alignment tool. Make sure the letters are out. Put it up there. It holds it on the boss of the crankshaft. Put that on there. Now get your finger. And there you go. The seal's in. Worked pretty good. Make it even all the way around. And there it is. Seal's in. Good to go. I almost forgot. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and put the flex plate on too. And the torque on this is 15, 37, and 74. And there it is. Today we're going to be putting lifter valley tray pan, or whatever you want to call it, on. I've already took the put new seals in it. I've already got the new seals in there. I've got oil on them to lubricate them because they go over the little risers that the knock sensors go into. Right there. So we're going to set it in place with a gasket, and then to get those lip seals over the risers, I'm just going to push them down with a socket. Yeah, so that's a lip seal, and it's got to go over that little riser there that the knock sensor goes in. So I got this will fit over it. So down that one goes, down that one goes. So they're both on.
What size socket?
3/4 deep well. Now we'll put the bolts in.
Gonna torque it to 18 foot-pounds.
Yep. Alright, now we're going to put the front cover on. So I've made a spacer, a tool to put this in. So we want to take it, tap it in the front cover. This is to make sure it's equally spaced around the crankshaft and the seal seals up on it. Then we'll put this on. Then we'll start some bolts on it. Get it up here, get a couple bolts started. Then I'll have to get it around the crankshaft. I'll take the spacer, tap it around the crankshaft. That'll make sure the crank or this is completely centered all the way around. On the back, I had to use the filler gauges because I didn't have one of these. I'll eventually make one, but I had a big enough piece I could make one of these for the front, so I have. And that should make it flat on the bottom, and everything will torque up right. And also, when you take this out, when you go to put the seal in, you can actually put the seal up there, use this, and use it as a driver to drive the seal in. So it's a kind of a dual purpose.
While on the back, we used 4-inch PVC.
Yeah, which worked very well actually. Just not for centering it, but. Now, I want to mess up the powder coat, so this might take 2 hands. I gotta get try this out. I don't want to mess up the powder coat, so. You can see it's kind of a tight fit, which is good. That's what you want. There we go. Now you can take the seal, put it up there, put this around the end of the crankshaft. And your seal's in. Ready for the harmonic balancer. Alright, that's it. Alright. Now that we got the front cover on and the valley pan cover on, we're going to go ahead and put the oil pan on. Start by putting the windage tray on. It's marked rear, so you know which way it goes in. I have a aftermarket oil pan. I bought a Speed Engineering one. It's not as deep in the back, and it'll fit the cross member under my 86 C10. So we're gonna put it on. See what it looks like. Put the windage tray on. We're gonna put 9 of the 10 bolts on first. The 10th one we'll have to wait until we get the pickup on to get the pickup bolts under one of these. So we'll put 9 of them on, torque them to 89 inch-pounds, and then we'll come back and after we get the pickup tube on and torque the final one. Now we'll put the pickup tube on. The pickup tube is made for this oil pan. It comes with a dual flange to mount on your oil pump, or most of them, the stock ones only come with one. And then also it gives you the O-ring. There's a couple different sizes, colors of O-rings, and this is one that came with it, so this is the one I'll use. So you slide it into the oil pump and put that over that. Now go ahead and just start this one on here until I get the bolts on the other one. Be careful here not to drop the bolt or jam the piece of paper towel in there to keep the bolt from coming out until I get it started. I got it started, so I'm going to pull that paper out. And we'll tighten this out. There we go. Our pickup tube's in. We'll put the oil pan gasket on. Got to make sure the two holes over here line up with where the oil filter's at. It supplies oil to your block. Here's the new oil pan. Pretty nice looking unit. That way you don't have to cut your stock truck pan, make it fit in. You know, there's something else I got to do. So there's a pan that goes in, or a tray that goes in the oil pan. So I'm going to bolt that in, and then we'll install the pan. Now we can put the oil pan on. Flip it around. Make sure the pickup goes in. These all get torqued to 18 inch-pounds, except for the two little ones in the back. They're a little less than that. I thought I said 18 inch-pounds, but it's foot-pounds. While I'm doing this, Josh is over there powder coating parts for his motor. He couldn't stand that I had powder coated parts on mine. The front cover and the valve covers. So he's got to do his the same way, which is fine. So the back two bolts are 106 inch-pounds. Alright, the oil pan is on. I put the oil plug in it. Alright, so yesterday I was putting the oil pan on, filming it, and my battery went dead, so I don't know how far it got on there, but as you can see, we got the oil pan on. I got the oil drain in, I've got the dipstick tube on, and I just got the valve cover sitting on there yet because I don't have the right length push rods because I shaved the heads a little bit. And I put this fast intake, it's just sitting on there for right now because I'm probably going to run all my wires underneath of it, but I got it sitting up there just to make it look cool and then get some of the boxes out of my shop. So yeah, we're almost there. I got a few more things to do to it. I did find out on this fast intake on a truck motor, you cannot use the truck water pump. You have to buy a Camaro water pump, and they sell spacers for it, like 3/4 of an inch, 700,000, somewhere around in there, that spaces the Camaro water pump out so all your pulleys line up on your truck accessories. So I'm gonna have to get that. I got to get the Camaro tensioner, and there was something else I had to get to make it all work. Oh, I got to get a throttle cable bracket also. So I'm also waiting on my Speed Engineering plates for the alternator, and I've got to get some parts from my alternator because I powder coated it. I took it apart, powder coated it red also. So I still have some work to do and some parts to order, but we'll get it there. Thanks for watching, and hit the like and subscribe button if you want. How's that?
That works.
Okay. We're good.